It's on the board! And is that a checkmate in 3 by force?
This is why we love the World Cup. The top guys beating down on the little guys. This is what we came to see. No more perfect defence from 2750 plus. We want to see Magnus smashing people up, finding brilliancies to finish the game. Now he was playing here against the Georgian player. Let me try and pronounce this. So it's Levan Pantasulea. So he's from Georgia, 2564. Strong player in his own right, but not in Magnus's league. So Magnus kicks off with c4. He only even needs a draw. He won yesterday, but okay, he's going for a win. So this English opening, symmetrical, and now g6 played. And I like what black goes for here, which is something a bit different. He knows he'll get positionally crushed against Magnus, so let's try and make it tactical. Now the normal move here is taking that pawn, but instead bishop g7 is played. Magnus takes the space, and after d6 we get e4. So a brave decision, giving the world champion the space, the centre, but obviously now black is going to play for some dark squared control. Now e6 is played here. We get pawn h3 from Magnus, stopping any future bishop g4, knight e7, knight c3, and pawn h6. You know, a number of pawn moves here from black. I mean, white's made some too, of course, but not exactly a setup that fills you with tons of confidence. But like said, black wants to play for tactics. Now, Magnus doesn't have to do this, but he takes on e6. The computer just wants to develop a bishop, play with the space, but Magnus's idea is bishop f4, target that backwards pawn, and black responds correctly, ditch the pawn, go for counterplay. So Magnus takes it. We get queen a5, pressure on the c3 knight in combination with this bishop. So the bishop drops, queen drops back, and now knight b4, you know, black trying to start an early initiative. a3 from Magnus, but not yet threatening to take that horse off because the rook is pinned by the pawn, you know, it's loose, it's going to drop. So g5 is flicked in. Kicks back this bishop, yes, lovely. Magnus drops it back. Could have gone there, by the way, could have gone there, different ways to play, but it does weaken this f5 square, which could come back to bite. So we see rook d8, kicks back this queen, and now knight d3 check. Really logical idea. You pick up the bishop pair, and after rook recaptures, look at this pawn, about to drop off the board, plus huge pressure on this knight. So what does Magnus do? He castles the king, good move, gets it to safety. Yes, the pawn drops, but now at least he can start to counterattack a bit. So he opens up the queen, attacking that bishop. It chops on d5. The pawn recaptures and rook takes. So now black is the one who's actually a pawn up. What's Magnus gonna do about this? Well, he goes rook e1, and this stops the black king from castling. And boy, does this get nasty really fast. So queen d8 is played to cover the knight, set up this really nice battery, and prepare to castle. But queen c4 is an excellent move from Magnus. Can you see what happens here if black castles the king? Can you find the winning tactic? So the move to play here is rook takes on e7. You remove the defender of this rook, and then white emerges simply a piece up. So castling is impossible. What does black do? King to f8. Step out of the pin, prepare to move the knight, but now another great move from Magnus, knight to e5. He's just bringing that firepower into the attack. And this rook is now pinned. You know, say for example you went rook d4 to attack that queen. Well, there's mate in 1 on f7. And if you eliminate that knight with the bishop, bishop recaptures, say the rook moves here, bishop f6, you're getting killed on these dark squares. It is not fun. So what we see instead is knight to c6. Very logical. You challenge this strong piece. That knight was a bit miserable there anyway. You know, black was really happy to hop it out the way. But now a really nice move from Magnus, rook a to d1. So using the fact that the rook cannot take here, or you walk into this checkmate. And of course this tactic's only possible because black's not taking with check. So what should black do in response? Well, it's tough. You know, if you take here, well then simply your rook is dropping on d5 because that rook is now attacked. There's a threat to take it, but you can't move it. So what black does is knight d4. Good move. Interrupting the connection here, of course. Magnus now sidesteps, coming away from any nasty discovered checks, and now b5 from black, pushing back the white queen, using the powerful knight on d4, but it's really hard to keep these pawns rolling. You know, there's no c4, this knight gets really loose. What do you actually do on the king side here? You want to get this rook into the game, and so h5 is played, you know, an attempt to sort of bring this one, maybe lift it one day, or push the pawns forward, activate the rook like that. But watch how Magnus now takes over the initiative. So he starts with knight to c6. More use of tactics, more use of pins. So both of these are attacked, and if you take with the knight, well again your rook is dropping. This is the problem. So the queen moves to b6, the knight is attacked, but Magnus doesn't take here. That would be helping black more than it helps white. Instead, he hops with knight e7, and that f5 square is coming back to bite. So the rook drops back and knight f5 played. Still, you can't snap it off. Still, you're then going to lose a rook at the end. And in fact, this is literally a checkmate. You know, look at the unfortunate position of that king. So instead, we see queen g6 played, pressuring the knight, but it's a huge blunder, which Magnus now pounces on. By the way, running back one move, what should black do? Well, bishop f6 was best, apparently, adding defense to the rook. But okay, not easy to see, under some time pressure as well, you know, down to 10 minutes. So queen g6 played. Now, can you find the winning move here, which Magnus plays? It sets up a beautiful finish. So, Magnus plays the move of bishop to c7, and he's trying to dislodge this rook, because if the rook leaves the d file here, say it comes to c8 to attack that bishop, keep an eye on the back rank. Well, now the bishop nudges back with check. It's defended by the knight, so the queen can't take. The king can't move this way, it's completely cut. So this is forced, and then you check like this, and you pick up the queen on the next move. So this is the problem with sidestepping off the d file. If you come to the e file, you know, prepared to maybe chop that knight if it checks from e7 in that whole same sequence. Well, now white can take here, king recaptures, and this is an awesome move. Queen takes on b5 with check, because if knight captures, this is actually a checkmate. The way the pieces flow and take advantage of this king, not castled, no rook on f8, it's really beautiful. So coming back here, we see the rook slide up to d7, staying on the d file, hitting that bishop, but this is where Magnus unleashes a brilliancy. Tanya reacts to the move like this. I'll show you the clip in a second. If you want to pause the video, look for it, then please do so. So, the move that Magnus plays here is rook to e8 check. He sacrifices the rook, and this is the response from Tanya.
It's on the board! Magnus Carlsen with the fantastic rook e8. And is that a checkmate in 3 by force?
So why does this work? Well, the king has to recapture, you know, it's got no other move, and then this is the follow-up, it's queen e4 check. Not only threatening nasty stuff here, but you're also eyeing the a8 square. This is the key to the variation. Now, if the king moves, it's only got one square to go to, then that's how you finish the game. You check from here, the only legal move is a rook block, this is a checkmate. So if we run it back here, the king can't move away. Well, what if you block the check? There's 3 ways to do so. If you block with the rook, that's mate in 1. If you block with the knight, then you still check from the back rank. The rook blocks, and now this piece joins the party because you take with check, knight recaptures is forced, and this is a checkmate. That's the second one in terms of the blocking. And now if you block with the queen, the third possible block, same thing, check from back here, rook blocks, that's a mate on the board. Really nice finish, and remember from this game, always get your king to safety. Cardinal sin. Let's run it back to the final position. Really stunning. I hope you enjoyed. Do hit subscribe and like, really helps me out. And if you want to see another video, check out the one on screen, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching.